can be used. Chris, you have the floor.
Thank you, Professor Lee. Thank you all for attending today. It's really an honor to address such a distinguished audience. My name is Finney, and I will be presenting a new proposal that may allow a significant group of small and developing states to access the clean development mechanism for the first time. This idea is simplified accounting for what I call the carbon importing states. The clean development mechanism is part of the Kyoto Protocol and allows developed countries to meet part of their emissions reductions requirements by financing projects that reduce emissions in developing countries. Projects are certified by a United Nations agency, and the credits are sold on an international market. But access to the clean development mechanism is not well distributed. This map shows the location of all projects to date. As you can see, over 90% of all project credits have been hosted by just 4 countries: China, India, the Republic of Korea, and Brazil. This means that the remaining 9% of projects are shared by 29 countries, and that 77 eligible host countries have no projects at all. Why is this? In part because the registration process for even small projects is quite complex, requiring a major investment in terms of time, resources, and expertise. This means that only relatively large projects achieve the economies of scale needed to make participation in the clean development mechanism feasible. To give a sense of this scale, all of the emissions from Samoa combined are comparable to a slightly smaller than average project under the clean development mechanism. This also means that many least developed countries and small island states host few or no activities large enough to allow them to access the clean development mechanism and its associated funding. My proposal seeks to allow many such countries to access the clean development mechanism by simplifying accounting and reporting. This group of countries is what I call the carbon importing states. Carbon importing states have no in-country fossil fuel reserves. Of course, this means they import all of their fossil fuels and their associated emissions. All carbon importing states have very precise data on the number of barrels of oil imported, and from there it is a simple calculation to determine the number of tons of carbon dioxide emitted at a national scale. This means that greenhouse gas emissions are accounted for at purchase. There are 54 countries that can be considered carbon importers. They represent over half of biosis and 29% of all signatories of the Kyoto Protocol. Many of you in attendance today, including Cape Verde, Eritrea, Haiti, Lesotho, Liberia, Maldives, Mauritius, and Nauru, will recognize yourselves on this list. I would like to suggest that a single clause be included in the upcoming climate change treaty in Copenhagen, something along the lines of the following. States that import 100% of fossil fuels used shall be eligible at their request for simplified national level accounting under the Clean Development Mechanism, in which baseline emissions and certified emissions reductions are calculated based on total national importation of fossil fuels. This proposal would allow carbon importing states to voluntarily participate in CDM at a national scale rather than project scale, benefiting from much lower administrative burden and greater flexibility in how emissions can be reduced. Developed countries already work in exactly this way. They commit to a certain level of reduced emissions at a national scale and can meet those commitments in any way, from large-scale alternative energy projects to more efficient appliances. How might this proposal benefit small nations? Here are some sample calculations. If Maldives, in the top row, were to improve national efficiency by 10%, they would reduce their carbon emissions by about 84,000 tons per year. At current prices, which are likely to increase substantially under a more aggressive treaty, this would create carbon credits worth over $840,000 per year. Similar efficiency gains in smaller economies such as Cape Verde or Grenada would still generate about $200,000 per year. And because it is tied to the carbon market, this funding is more reliable than aid-based mechanisms such as adaptation financing. These monies could be invested in further efficiency gains, or in climate adaptation, or simply included in national budgets. Regarding negotiating this proposal, I believe it meets the needs of a large number of states. Many developed countries view the Clean Development Mechanism as a market designed to reduce the cost of climate mitigation. Those countries may support this proposal because it would help the global carbon market function more efficiently. On the other hand, many developing countries view the Clean Development Mechanism as a source of financing for development projects that also reduce carbon emissions. These states may support this proposal simply because it improves access to this source of funding.
Thank you, Chris.